Kevin, what do we know?
Well, this is a estimate of the straight repeal, the delayed straight repeal bill that at this point Senate Republicans say they plan to vote on next week. Now, everything's very in flux after a meeting with the White House. There's some talk of reviving the bill that McConnell had been working on before that would have resulted in an additional 22 million uninsured. But this is looking at a version of a bill that was passed by both chambers and then vetoed by President Obama back in 2015 that would repeal the individual mandate, a bunch of the Obamacare taxes, and a whole bunch of the other things. It actually keeps some Obamacare regulations in place. But so this would, though, if it is passed and then they don't manage to produce a replacement bill within 2 years, when the thing actually would kick in, then you would see an additional 32 million people uninsured. You would see premiums double within a decade. And you'd see potentially up to 3/4 of the country without any options in the individual markets, according to this estimate from the CBO.
So look, Kevin, there are a lot of moving parts here. What are next steps?
Well, right now, we're expecting a number of the Republican holdouts on sort of moving forward with the debate to meet with White House officials at Capitol Hill tonight, so including potentially the Vice President, but definitely the Health and Human Services Secretary, Tom Price, and a few other officials. They're going to be up there for a meeting to try to figure out what the path forward is. Senators said that President Trump made clear in a lunch meeting today with Republican senators that he wants to see them vote on a repeal and replace bill, if at all possible, but he'd settle for a delayed repeal bill like the one the CBO just scored.
Interesting. So, what does this mean for President Trump and the level of confidence? Of course, what happened last week, we know, was a major blow to the Trump agenda.
Well, at this point, we don't really know what was going. We don't really know what's going to happen next week. What we do know is that right now Republicans don't appear to have the votes to get anything yet onto the floor next week. And so, if that vote were held right now, we think it would fail. It would get blocked. At that point, we'd have to see what they decide to do. At some point, they might just take a vote, let it fail, and move on to something else. Republicans have a lot of interest in moving on to the tax debate, and they don't necessarily want to get held up debating taxes for weeks and weeks and weeks in additional time. At the same time, they're facing incredible pressure to still deliver on their 7 years of promises to repeal Obamacare.